Akeisha.
I'm here.
Thank you. It'd be easier to find you on the list. Okay. So I have 5 of us, correct? Okay. Give me just 1 minute here. Okay, so we have a quorum. I have 5 of us. Do you usually say who's here, or I can write that down? Bear with me here, guys, because this is my first time running the board meeting. Okay. All right. I guess we're ready to get started. We don't need a motion to get started, right, Mandy?
No.
Okay.
Just call the meeting to order.
Okay. Call the meeting to order at 6:04 on February 12th, 2026. So welcome, everyone. This is our monthly board meeting. And for those of you who don't know me, I just wanted to take a moment to introduce myself. I am Stephanie Gottler, the newly selected board chair of Green Charter Schools. I want to first thank the stakeholders for electing me to serve on this board and thank our board members for entrusting me with this role as chair. Almost 11 years ago, I was talking with a good friend. My oldest daughter was in 2nd grade in a Greenville County school, and although she was doing excellent academically, she was very unhappy there. My friend started telling me about Green and said I should check it out. Her son had been there since they opened the doors and was very happy there. We did a tour and were very impressed, and our daughter was offered a seat in June of 2015 for 3rd grade. Accepting that seat was one of the best decisions we ever made. One of the greatest things we found at Green that was lacking in her previous school was compassion. She was met with kindness and understanding, and it made all the difference in the world to her. She found good friends, a love for school again, and a sense of belonging. Her teachers welcomed her in and took the time to see her as a human with individual needs and talents, and not just a number or a test score. I am proud to say she is now in her 1st year at Clemson University. I think we can all agree that Green is a special place, and we have some of the most talented teachers in the state. Some of my best role models are teachers that have helped shape me into the person I am today, just as our Green teachers have helped all 3 of my children grow in wonderful ways, personally and academically. Over the past several weeks, I have been taking the time to hear from all sides. I want you all to know that even if you did not receive a direct response to your email from a board member, we are listening and we hear you. Unfortunately, in our role as board members, there are often more things that we can't talk about openly than we can talk about, and that makes our jobs frustrating at times and difficult. However, we understand that we need to improve communication and transparency, and we are working on that. I was in your shoes not that long ago. It was the end of 2020, in the middle of COVID. We were not only facing uncertain times worldwide, we were also facing some uncertainty here at Green. Some of you have been here long enough to remember when we held a little protest on Pelham Road. I was there that day and held a sign that I made with poster board and a green Sharpie. Not very artistic, so it was not the prettiest looking sign, but the message was from the heart. It said, "Green strong." One thing that still rings true today is that I still believe in that message with all of my heart. I believe that together we are stronger than the fear of the unknown. Green is so much more than just a school network. It is a special community of teachers many of which go the extra mile to get kids excited about learning. And because of that, it's a place where students are able to thrive. This is why I am here, and it's the same reason I've heard from many of you as well. We know we have room for improvement, and I ask for your patience and to have faith in us as we work together on solutions. We have almost 3,000 students and 332 employees that are counting on us to make good, sustainable decisions. And I can assure you that the decisions this board makes have been and will continue to be in the best interest of our students, our amazing community of talented teachers, and our school network as a whole. Thank you. And now we're going to move into, do we need a motion, Mandy? Forgive me, I'm probably to move into public comments.
No, you don't need a motion for that.
Okay, thank you.
You're
So
welcome.
I'm going to read the statement about the rules. We're going to do things a little bit differently tonight because we do have a lot to cover. So I am going to cut off at 30 minutes. And we're gonna have priority for some people who haven't had a turn in a while. So as a reminder, the board does allow public comments at our meeting and welcome stakeholder feedback. However, we do have rules in place to ensure the meeting proceeds respectfully and in a timely manner. Public speakers are given 3 minutes to speak and may not cede their time to another speaker. The board does not respond to public speakers, nor should the speaker ask questions of the board collectively or individually. The board does not permit speakers to reveal information regarding confidential matters such as legal matters, student discipline, or personnel matters. Those should be taken up with administration directly, as the board does not handle personnel or student discipline matters. The board will not tolerate any hate speech or defamatory speech toward any Green student, teacher, staff member, or administrator. In doing so, will void the remainder of the speaker's time. The board chair reserves the right to end a speaker's time at any time if the speaker violates any of the above rules. So the first person I have on the list is Latoya Mullins. Latoya, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Are you ready to go first?
Sure. I don't have anything prepared, but my son is a first grader at Green of the Low Country. So he's my firstborn child. I do have a stepdaughter through marriage who's older. But when it came time to pick a school for him, I did so much research. I'm like, do we want to go private? Can't afford it. Do we want to go public? Do we want to go charter? And I'd never really heard of charter. I didn't have a lot of information about charter schools. I went through public school, all through K through 12. And so there's a friend of mine whose daughter attends Green, and she said, you should consider Green. And so when I did more research, I found that there are smaller classrooms. There are, when I did the tour, it just was very tight. I could tell it was a very tight knit group. And then, you guys don't know me, but my son, who's the first grader at Green, has epilepsy, and he had his first seizure when he was 4. Because of the epilepsy, he has some residual, a slower processing disorder. And so a lot of times it takes a special person to really connect with him. And I knew that if I left him at a public school, and side note, we live in Somerville, and so we're zoned for Somerville, but I work in North Charleston. I'm a nurse. And so the thought of not being near my baby if he needed me, it frightened me. So the fact that I was able to enter the lottery for him to go to Green and be 10 minutes down the street, as opposed to 30 minutes away from me if something was to happen, that also held a very special place in my heart. So he has many therapies at Green Low Country. He sees speech, OT. He works with, he gets taken aside and does even smaller groups, for the class sizes to be so small and for there to only be 2 classes per grade where we are. He's already getting specialized attention, but the fact that he can still benefit from, the public funding that Green Charter receives is huge because he can get all those therapies at school. And so, he's a special guy. Anybody that he meets, you're not a stranger to him for very long. So he's got a special relationship. I feel like I'm comfortable leaving him at school. I have no doubt at all that they'll take great care of my baby. So I just wanted to say that I'm very thankful to be a part of the Green community.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mullins. I'm so happy to hear that. Okay, next I have on the list Susan Markford. Susan, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm here.
Are you ready to go?
Yes.
Let me get my stopwatch thing going. I struggle with technology sometimes here. Let's see if I can do another one. I might need to go. Oh, here we go. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, y'all. I have a bit of a cold, so I'm on the struggle bus today. But I would just like to say first, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Susan Markford, and I've been with Green since year one. There's only 2 employees here who've been here longer than me. Shout out to Fitz and Miss Till. I started as a part-time receptionist when we were just 280 kids, and I've grown to be part of our central office team where I provide support and training for our enrollment and power school systems. I want to speak on a few things tonight. First, I want everyone to know that the leadership team in the central office, as well as all of the support staff like myself, work very hard to ensure that our limited resources are shared in the most efficient way possible, equally. That involves a lot of tough decisions. Second, I want everyone to be aware that the efforts put in by Green staff, including the central office and especially our leadership team, can be overwhelming to those people at times. Many variables come into play when making decisions for the network, and the stress of those decisions weigh very heavily on the people who make them. If you're not in the room, you cannot truly know everything that has to be considered by them when they're making those decisions. And I understand the frustration it brings when you don't know all of the factors that are going in there, but some parts of those decisions involve things that we just cannot share because it may violate a law or because it violates the privacy or personnel information of somebody. And that's just, we just can't do it. The third thing, I want to address the way in which some of our stakeholders are choosing to address their concerns. Everyone in the schools welcome your opinion on what we're doing here because you are stakeholders. But sometimes the level of hostility that we seem to be getting and the aggressiveness of the personal attacks, they're just not healthy for anybody. They're not healthy for the community, and they can't be healthy for the people expressing those either. The third thing is, please just be careful when you're sharing that information and if you're the person hearing it. And I'd like to end with this. If you're one of the silent majority who see the good we're doing, please be willing to share that information, because all that negativity out there just makes it harder for us to keep our enrollment numbers up, which leaves less resources for us to serve our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Markford. Okay, next on the list, I have Brandy Moody. Are you on the call?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for allowing me to speak today. I pray you are well. Okay, so my name is Brandy Moody. My child has been going to Green Charter since kindergarten. She was the first kindergarten class out there in Spartanburg. And I used to be the front office lady. Green Charter, I was looking for something that was different. I didn't want the normal for my baby. I had worked in several of the District 5 schools, and I saw a lot of stuff that I didn't want my child to be subject to. And I wanted her to have the STEM. I wanted her to go out there and be very talented, and I wanted her to have a compassionate teacher. Because I wanted her to feel loved. I wanted it to feel like family when I walked in the doors. I wanted everybody to know that I was Olivia Moody's mama and no questions asked about it. And if I walked in there, they knew exactly who I wanted. Um, I believe that while I was there, I created that family aspect with these kids because you didn't know what them kids was coming from at home. Love is a big thing. It's Valentine's Day, right? It's Valentine's month, right? You're supposed to show love and kindness to everyone. Of course, I've heard all the negativity. Okay, I've heard it all. But I'm a homegrown country girl. I am born and raised here, if you can't tell. And I will light somebody up in a heartbeat about it. Because Green, Spartanburg, is my place. That's what I helped put together. Mr. Orgovan has done a phenomenal job. Um, like I said, he's very hands-on with the children. That's what makes Green. That's exactly what makes Green is the kids, the families that come in. When you don't have that, you ain't got no school. You don't have that at all. If you don't got people supporting you, coming back to you, and I'm telling you, I work for a small business. Word of mouth is hard on you if you got some negativity out there. So everybody needs to step back and think. Ain't nobody sinless. Everybody falls short. So Green Charter, Spartanburg, woo woo! I love them. I do. And Mr. Orgovan is top notch. I've seen him go from a third grade teacher to the man that he is today. He's not only involved with Green Charter's family, but he's a family man of his own. So I thank him for it. Thank you so much for your time, Miss Stephanie. Everybody else, God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Miss Moody. I appreciate it. Okay, next we have on the list Blair Waldrop. Blair, are you on the call?
Yes, I'm here.
You ready to go?
Yep.
Okay,
I wrote
thank
everything
you.
down because I knew I'd forget. So good evening and thank you for my opportunity to speak tonight. I'm Blair Waldrop, as I said. I'm a kindergarten teacher at the Spartanburg campus. It was actually around this time in February of 2020 that my husband, my daughter, and myself, we stepped through the doors of Green campus in Spartanburg for the first time. We were visiting for an informational meeting for possible incoming kindergarten families, and we quickly fell in love with the staff, the environment, and the overall feelings and goals that Green was presenting. We knew it was a place for our family, and that's all we were at the time. We were just a family who was sending their kid, their only baby, off to kindergarten. I was not in the classroom when we started our Green journey, but I quickly did realize that the environment that was there and the way everything was set up was not something I just wanted for my child, but I really wanted to try and get involved as well. So I always say everything happens for a reason. God's timing is always right. And so actually a long-term sub position opened up for a 4K teacher's aide. And so I was accepted. And from there, I've been able to move my way into the kindergarten classroom as a lead teacher. And it's been a godsend. It's been a blessing. I come home tired most days, and they're long days, and I've caught every single germ imaginable. But there's nothing I would rather do. For us, Green has been a safe place for my daughter, and it's somewhere that she was able to blossom and grow. During the time that we as parents, again, our only child, our first kid going into school, we were trying to learn how to help her. She had some new diagnoses of really high anxiety, ADHD, auditory processing. And so during that time, the people at Green were wonderful. She always felt seen and heard and valued while she dealt with her own struggles to overcome and obstacles. The teachers and the care and the attention of the teachers and staff has always been at the forefront. That was the most important thing for us. And then as I joined the team, like for the first time in my life, I felt like I made connections with people. I was encouraged and pushed to do more by my bosses and leaders, and I was valued for my worth. As a teacher here at Green, we are encouraged to think outside the box with our lessons and we're given the opportunity and the ability to make them engaging and fun. And this is honestly the biggest part of and reason that being in the classroom is so enjoyable for me. Because I'm allowed to actually teach my students the way that best suits their needs, the way that kindergartners should be taught. And I don't have to follow a script, which we know is not always the case in most schools. I came on here tonight because there has been a lot going on all the campuses. I mean, that is the truth. And there is just a lot of negativity out here, just kind of reflecting what other people have said. I understand frustration from all sides. As a parent, as a teacher, I totally get it. Trust me, I get it. But the reason I wanted to speak tonight is to put some positivity out there so that we don't forget and move away from the amazing parts of Green, the staff, the students, the community each campus creates. Sorry, I didn't know if I should keep going.
You're fine. Did you have a little bit to add at the end
Yeah,
there?
one more line, sorry.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so the community that we create and the encouragement for students, the true love that's shown. And so as I finish, I just want to say this one last thought. While the frustrations and the negativity are high, they are, we need to think about who is ultimately affected by the words that are being shared and the thoughts. It's the teachers that we love, that you all love. It's the students the teachers care about. And like Ms. Moody said, we're in the season of love and friendship. So I hope that we can try and spread some positivity for Green, the Green that we love, for the admin, for the teachers, and for the most important of all, the students. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next on the list, we have, I hope I'm saying this right. Well, I'm going to say Ms. Henderson. Shastiva Henderson. Are you on the call?
Yes, hi, how are you doing?
Hi, good. How are you?
Doing
Let me get my timer going here. All right, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
Okay, so first, just hello, everyone. Good evening. My name is Chestiva Henderson. I started at Green this year. This is my first year. And I just want to start off by sharing part of my personal journey. So before coming to Green, I worked in a traditional district setting, and the mental load was extremely heavy. The expectations were very unspoken, but it was pretty much your job should come before everything else, before my children, before my physical health, my mental well-being. And when I came to Green this year, I experienced something completely different. I found a community where colleagues noticed that I was having a bad day, where culture and collaboration wasn't just a buzzword, where leadership cared about me as a whole person and not just as a teacher delivering instruction. And that matters. Green is doing a lot of things that are right. We have teachers who show up early and stay late. We have students who are growing academically and socially. And we have families who choose to come to this school because they believe in something different. And in the many ways, Green has delivered on that promise. But lately, the noise has gotten a lot louder than the mission. We all know that something happened, missteps, mistakes occurred, decisions were made, and that is real, and accountability matters. But to me, what more important is the question of not what happened, but also how do we go from here? If we stay in this cycle of, accusation and the negativity, we're going to lose sight of what matters most, and that is our kids, our students. Spreading the negativity, it doesn't increase enrollment, it does not retain the high quality of teachers, and it doesn't attract any new amazing educators who want to be a part of this meaningful experience. It spreads quickly. Negativity consumes morale, it creates division, and when that morale drops, student outcomes also follow. What will grow our numbers are unity, transparency, clear communication from everyone, and a shared commitment to rebuilding trust. Growth requires reflection, but it also requires a forward movement. We can acknowledge that the errors were made, but we can still protect the integrity of the many educators and leaders who are doing the incredible work now. We can hold the systems accountable without tearing down the very people who are pouring into the kids every day. Green Charter has an opportunity right now to model what leadership actually looks like. It's not perfection, but it is resilience. It's not silence, but it's constructive solutions. And it's definitely not division, but it's alignment around our students' successes. We can choose growth over that gossip, and we need to choose to amplify the good that is happening in the classrooms every single day. Because at the end of the day, our kids are watching us, and we're the adults, and they're trying to see how we handle conflict. and what we model is going to shape what our culture is like moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Henderson. I really appreciate that. Okay, next I have Mrs. Pamela Bloom. Ms. Bloom, are you on the call?
I am. Hello. Hello, everybody.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. You ready to go?
I am.
All right. Go ahead.
I am talking about today one of our exciting Green Charter events that's going to be, sorry, music teacher, tired voice. One of our exciting fine arts events that's going to be happening this upcoming year, and that is Vertigo, our Fine Arts Festival, which will be in its second year on Saturday, May 22nd at Green Upstate High School. Our very first festival in 2025 was an incredible success and was an amazing event for our student body and our families at large. Our fine arts teachers are hard at work organizing and planning this fun-filled day. Vertigo will feature a juried student art show with awards, concerts from our performing ensembles, choir, band, and theater, from our upstate Green campuses, a fun-filled kid zone with inflatables, and our Makers Market, which is currently accepting applications for 2026. Green Charter families who may have a small business or sell items at craft shows or farmers markets, or those that may own and operate a food truck or dessert items, are welcome to apply for a vendor space at a discounted rate. Green Charter middle school and high school students who have an entrepreneurial spirit are also encouraged to apply. Please reach out to me at pbloom@scgreencharter.org for an application link. An amazing day like this also needs many parent volunteers. We're hoping to find parents who would be willing to help hang student artwork, arranging our performance area in the high school cafeteria, and others willing to help with important day of aspects as well. There will be other pre-Vertigo events that will get students excited for the big day. During the first 2 weeks in March, each Green Charter Upstate school will begin taking collections of any unused art supplies families may have around their homes. We will be collecting these items for an event on Saturday, April 11th, titled Vertigo Makerspace Day. These donated items will be used to create artistic decorations and interactive art stations for our main Vertigo event. All Green Charter families can attend the Makerspace Day, which also just falls a few days before World Art Day, where they can help create some of the displays or create decorations that will be displayed during Vertigo to add to the ambiance and the spirit of this event. More to come later. Another hope we have for our Vertigo event is to start building our band program at the high school. We will be asking our Green Charter families to donate any used band instruments they may have lying around their home. Our goal is to try and fill the small shuttle with flutes, clarinets, saxophones, trumpets, and trombones, and any percussion instruments. These instruments will be refurbished and loaned to students who may not be able to afford a rental instrument. None of this would be possible without the teamwork from our fine arts teachers who work tirelessly to inspire, motivate, and foster the growth of our students. Real quick, a shout out to them. Megan Romansky, Spartanburg Art, Madison Boykin, Pelham Road Art, Jessica Henderson, Band and Choir at the middle school, John Kilpatrick, General Music and Theater at the middle school at the middle school, Sophia Phillips and Heather Grossi, Simpsonville Art, Ashley King, Simpsonville Music, and our newest addition, Griffin Blackwell, High School Choir, Concert Band, and Music Tech. We are all looking forward to Vertigo 2026. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Bloom. I think everybody had a great time at that last year. And I know, Mandy, you were there like all day. I think you did a lot.
Yeah, I manned the inflatable zone for I think about 9 hours that day. It was a lot, but it was a great success. It was one of my favorite things that Green has ever done. So thank you.
Great. Okay, and next we have Haley Thomas. Haley, are you on the call?
Yes, ma'am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm going to read because I will flub it if I don't. So bear with me. Good evening, board members and Green stakeholders. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Haley Thomas, and I am a staff member at Green, and I've been with Green for just a little over 4 years and have had the wonderful opportunity to a front row seat at this inspiring education system. I was singing to my little 2-year-old for nap time today as I was putting her down. And during that, I was thinking about what I was going to say tonight. And I guess that's the mom superpower. You kind of do it all at the same time. But it occurred to me that I actually would be so happy to have my little girl attend Green when she's of the age to do so. And for someone who analyzes every decision obsessively, that actually says a lot for me. I trust the educators, the administrators, and I trust the executive team. That doesn't come lightly, but it's true because I've seen the work put into this network firsthand, especially that of Mr. Cronin. I truly believe that the very school system that so many parents are fighting for is the same system that Mr. Cronin and many other staff, teachers, parents, and students even have molded and shaped along the way. It is truly a beautiful snapshot of education and healthily attached children as a whole. Admiring what has been built does not negate that it requires continuous improvement. There are and will always be necessity adjustments along the way, and that's just how we learn. But how wonderful it is to see the desire for that continuous improvement from the executive team, the leadership, and the staff as well. There's no telling what journey I'm going to experience with my 2-year-old as she grows and gets ready for big girl school, but I will never settle for anything less than the best for her. And watching Mr. Cronin and our leaders and educators at Green strive for that as well lets me know that they will never settle for anything less either. So I just wanted to thank you guys for your time, and I hope you all have a great night. Thank you.
Thank you, Hallie. And next we have Kanita Harley. Miss Harley, are you on the call? Kanita Harley. I am not seeing her on here. Okay, so we'll go to the next one. Mr. Vince Atkinson, are you on the call?
I am, yes.
Hi, you ready to go?
I am, yes.
All right, let me get my little timer going here.
Okay.
All right, go ahead.
Members of the board and most importantly, our entire Green community, thank you for your time. To introduce myself, my name is Vince Atkinson, and in my attempt to try to figure out how I was going to introduce myself to a lot of you who may not know or remember me, I did have the privilege to serve on the board. I was honored to serve as the chair for a period of time, but most importantly, I take the most pride in being a valued member of, as a parent of 2 children that attended Green. Charter schools in general, watching and learning about charter schools and watching and learning as a board member and as a parent, I truly believe are positioned to redefine what public education looks like in this country. And we have all entrusted charter schools. We've entrusted our executive director, we've entrusted our leadership team, our administrators, our educators, our faculty, our staff. We've entrusted all of these with what we cherish most in our lives, and it's our children. And they're our children, but they're Green students. But at Green, that line, they're valued as if they are children of Green, not just students. I've said, and I believe this, if we chase learning, the grades will come. Grades are a product of learning. And an example of that is watching my daughter as she's moved into high school. We've since moved to North Carolina. And she came up to me a year and a half ago. I was teaching at the same school that she was. And she said, you know, I haven't learned anything new in math since I left Green as a 7th grader, and she's in high school. And it just shows how green and responsible charter environments teach to the student. They don't teach to the standard. They don't teach to the unit or the lesson. Those are boundaries. Those are guidelines. That's pacing. Um, but that's what green is. In reading a little bit and looking at these periods of time, I know that there's disagreement and I know that there's concern, but that's not unusual in healthy organizations. It reflects passion. It reflects our sense of care. And it also reflects the school's future. So I do want to express my confidence in our current board's dedication. I want to express my confidence in our executive director and our team of leaders, particularly in the schools. Those are the people that are closest to our kids. Strong schools are built on governance, but mostly on trust and civility. And we have a shared focus here. So we've weathered changes before, and I fully believe that we will continue to weather changes. We'll embrace change, and we're going to grow, and we'll do so together. I thank you for your time, and I respect everyone's commitment, everyone here, everyone that's a part of Green. Good night.
Thank you so much, Mr. Atkinson. I really appreciate it. Okay, that has been about 30 minutes. I know there were some people who didn't get a chance to speak. If you could sign up for next month, if you're still interested, we really got a lot to cover here tonight. And thank you everyone who took the time to speak tonight. Really means a lot and your support. So we are gonna move along with the agenda. And can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll move.
Okay, was that Mandy moving?
Yeah.
Okay, and can I get a second?
A second.
Okay. So Trish, was that Trishka? Trishka and Laurel?
Actually, Catherine jumped in too, so
Oh,
her down.
okay. Okay, so then does anybody have anything to add or anything to discuss for the agenda? No. Good. Okay, so we need to vote on the agenda? Okay. Can I get I guess Mandy, help me out
All in
here.
favor.
All in favor, thank you.
Say aye and raise your hand.
I say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye. So I've got everybody. Great. Okay, thanks. Okay, and next we'll continue with the agenda. We'll move on to approval of the minutes from the last board meeting, which was on January 8th. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
I motion.
Cat. Okay, we got Kat with the motion. Can I get a second?
A second.
Second, Keisha, thank you. Okay, does anyone have any questions or changes for the minutes? All good. Okay, so we'll move on to approving the minutes. So all in favor, say aye and raise your hand.
Aye.
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 Okay, that's all of us. Okay, and then we're gonna move on to the next item on our agenda, and that is Celebrate Green. Is Bobby doing that?
I'm here. Thank you, Stephanie. Yeah, it's time to celebrate green. Can you guys hear me? Everybody can hear me? All right. First of all, I get to do this. I get to do it. I get to do what is one of the most important things that we do here at Green. We get to celebrate student successes and celebrate the good things that are going on across our network. And today our focus is going to be down in Midlands. Midlands had a big science fair, and I'm going to ask Dr. Watson. I think Dr. Watson's on here. I'm going to ask Dr. Watson to take it over from here and let her talk about the great things that happened this past Friday.
Okay, I'm gonna share my screen for the dramatic effect. So y'all can watch my slideshow as I have it going. Okay. Well, last Friday, and y'all can hear me, right? Okay. And see the pictures, right? I must warn you, my kids are super cute, so hold your hearts because you will not be able to contain it. Last Friday, February 6th, Green Midlands made history by hosting our first ever science fair. And this inclusive event allowed students in grades K through 8 to participate as individuals, pairs, or classes as they explored scientific questioning using the scientific method. Including our kindergarten and first grade class projects, we were able to showcase 63 total projects. We used every cafeteria table we had and some. We had to go get some tables. Well, not buy them. We had to just find them at our school. And that is more than 60% of our entire school population that participated. We were honored to have 5 judges. We had Dr. Kelsey Pennington, who is our Director of Teaching and Learning. We had Miss Maya Joan Lewis, who is our Director of Student Services. We had Miss Brenda Weeks, who is our state-approved transformation coach. Mr. Bill Danielson, who is the Mayor of Irmo. And we had Mr. Gaurav Sengal, who is the founder of the STEM Lab in Columbia. We even had Miss Georgina Anderson from USC, serves as not only a staff member of the university, but also as our region's representative for our regional science fair. And she was there to speak to parents directly about how to sign their kids up for the regional fair in March. Held from 12 to 2 that Friday, the event brought together students, families, central office staff, and community partners filling the gym and highlighting the incredible work happening at Green Midlands every single day. I have been the principal for a short time. I started after Thanksgiving, and I will fight for my kids. And whether that be whatever form it takes, just know, don't mess with us. Each student received a certificate of participation that day, and we recognized our top projects. Our 3rd place winner went to Hunter and Grayson West in the 4th and 1st grade. Our 2nd place winner went to 5th grader Zane Bulknight, and our 1st place winner went to 5th grader Timothy M. Marinovsky. I've practiced saying his name all day today. He was very proud of me. And his project was the bridge and the boulder. Each of our top winners received a trophy, and our 1st place winner will have his registration fee completely paid for if he chooses to participate in the regional fair. I will gladly pay for that if he wants to participate. It was a truly fantastic, magical, all the positive adjectives day, and it truly highlighted just how much our students can achieve when given the opportunity to explore, create, and shine. I could not be any prouder of our students. And I even had a kid ask me, can we do it again? And I'm thinking, oh, buddy, I'm still tired from Friday, but we can do it again next year. But it was a truly magical day, and I just loved the inclusivity of all of it. And you can find this video on YouTube, and there's a time lapse at the end that I felt really proud of for making that showed us setting it up and breaking it down. So just search us on YouTube and you'll be able to find it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Watson. That sounds like an incredible time. Yes.
Fantastic. Dr. Watson, just a great job. Sorry I didn't make it down, but there was representation there and everybody said it was amazing. It's awesome that the mayor was there taking part in it. And you're making some pretty amazing noise down there. You and your students are. So keep it up. Keep it up. And I can't thank you enough for the fantastic job that you're doing And I also want to say this, thank you to our other administrators and teachers. Thank you. Daily basis, you're in the trenches. You really and truly are. And things like this are the result of what you're doing every single day. Sorry, Miss Stephanie, I just had to put that one in there. And I'll say this again. I get to do this. We get to do this. Thank you, Dr. Watson.
Of course.
Thank you, Mr. Rollins. Appreciate you. All right, so now we'll move on to committee reports. And for the governance committee, can y'all hear me? Okay. So I'm the chair of the governance committee, and everything on our agenda ended up, it was confidential matters, legal matters, contractual matters, personnel matters. So we were in executive session for all but the call to order. But I just want to put a little note in there that some of the things we discussed trickled into other committees. So it was like started over to the other committees. So you'll get information from the other committees like Personnel Committee and some of the other things that'll pop up in the other committee meetings. And that's kind of a lot how the governance committee usually works. Let's see here. So, and I'm the chair of the finance committee. So I'm just going to give a description of the agenda, and I've got people from Copper here that are going to give you an overview. And the meeting was also recorded. It was a very long, good meeting with a lot of discussion. I'd recommend if you want more detail after this that you can go in. It's right on the website under the board page on the date of the finance committee, which was January 23rd. We did a student fees update. We went through the 25-26 budget status, actual versus budget. And we talked about the 26-27 budget development process, which we'll start getting into. And I got these written down somewhere. I'm going to talk about the fees real quick. And then Chance, are you on this call to talk in a few minutes?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. So the fees, and I've got to get the minutes out here, but I just wanted to clarify that because Tom did a pretty good job at describing these. There's going to be a $25 basic school fee, and that's for all students to help offset the cost of end of the year activities like special celebrations, events, guest speakers, and such. There's going to be a $60 technology fee for 3rd to 12th graders to help offset the Chromebook charge. This used to be a part of a fee like forever ago, and it was paused for a bit. So just re-implementing that. And this doesn't even cover the cost. It's to help offset it. And then there's $75 extracurricular fee. That's only going to be for students who participate in non-sport extracurricular clubs and activities. And that helps offset the cost of the activities and the teacher stipends, because we do like to pay teacher stipends a little extra when they're working after school and extra overtime hours. And some of that money goes to supplies and stuff too. And then for the athletic fee, that's $150. Only for students who are participating in after-school sports to help offset things like registration fees, teacher stipends, field and gym usage, rentals, et cetera, and things like that. There is going to be, and I know there's been a lot of wondering about this too, so that's why I'm taking the time to spell this out. The fees are currently being set up in my school book, so that's how families will pay, but they're going to give some leeway where they're not going to be due till the end of this year to give families more time to plan. And students who enroll in the free school lunch program will be eligible for fee waivers. Fee waivers will need to be requested and approved, but no one will be denied for financial reasons with the inability to pay. And that's all I had on that part. So, Chance, do you mind giving an overview of the budget status? I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Chance Matthew with Copper Advisors, and we have taken over some finance functions with the school. And so, as Stephanie mentioned, there's a rather extensive finance committee meeting that's recorded and out there where we really, for the most part, went line by line and identified some areas where we are better in terms of our spend versus budget and some areas that were of concern. There's a few key takeaways I want to go over in our call tonight. One is, the challenge that we're faced with as a school is not only how do we allocate the resources that we have to ensure excellent funding to fund our instruction and that type of thing, but we also have to, with the bonds that are in place, we have to monitor our spend and monitor our fiscal activity relative to our bonds and relative to covenants. So the first part of the fiscal year, which would have been July through December, we had originally budgeted and forecasted for around 3,070 in terms of the enrollment. The updated projection that was done actually had the projection as high as 3,110. And our 5-day count came in at 2923. So that's roughly, that's a little bit less than 200 in terms of the enrollment miss, which is a challenge, which is why when you look at the finance committee meeting, we discussed in some detail the miss in terms of the state funding that the school received the first portion of the fiscal year. However, the good news is that enrollment by our 45-day count was up. We went from our total, and there are complex calculations here that I'm more than willing to provide to the website, but really what we're worried about or what we're concerned with is our weighted pupil units. And that went up from 8115 at our 5-day count to 8271 at our 45-day count. What does that mean? All right. What that essentially means is that charter schools are funded based on various count days for portions of the fiscal year. So from January through April, we're going to receive more funding because for our 45-day count was up. And one of the things that we discussed in our finance committee meeting was that my team was going to pull together an updated forecast for fiscal 26. So Scott and I actually finalized that today. We're going to be presenting that to the finance committee, which would be our suggestion in terms of an update to the budget. And based on some of the adjustments we've had to make during the course of the fiscal year, enrollment currently being where it is, which is holding past our 45-day count, we are showing that the school, based on those projections, and if enrollment is able to hold, we should be able to meet our fiscal 26 debt service coverage ratio. And inclusive of a line of credit pool, we should be able to meet our days cash on hand. Couple other big recent wins. One is the school has been working with the state to try and obtain some planning and implementation funding. And we just got notification, I believe today, my partner's on the call, but I believe we just got notification today that was approved, and that's a little over $304,000. So we should have that incoming in the next 7 to 10 days.
That's right.
Also, there he is. I didn't approve you to talk, Scott, so you can just nod your head.
Sorry.
I'm joking. Secondly, which is another big item was that for the Simpsonville campus, the real estate tax exemption was approved. And it's our understanding that was approved for the 24, 25, and 26 fiscal year, which should save in some of the money that we have to expend for the landlord at the Simpsonville campus. I'm showing that we've made substantial headway in catching up our vendors for our bill pay. And as of the end of January, January 31st, there was $0 pulled on our line of credit at the very end of January. Awesome. So we are monitoring that. We only want to be able to pull when it's absolutely necessary. So our main focus right now is to ensure that if we do have to pull any line of credit pulls, that we monitor when to be able to flush that back to minimize the interest expenditure. We're also making sure that we want to get all of our vendors back into a position where we're net 30 instead of kind of being almost like a net 45 days. So we are catching up there. And again, the updated projections that we're going to go over, which I would suggest to the board once we get those done, that we analyze an updated fiscal 26 budget that we could post and present to the investors. If enrollment's holding and if we are able to meet these projections, we should be able to meet both the fiscal 26 debt service coverage and with inclusive of a line of credit pool should be able to meet our day's cash on hand. Last little win I'll say is, one of the things that we're analyzing everything really top to bottom, and we were able to work with the school's trustee to be able to analyze the debt service reserve fund relative to your bond. And we saved the school $75,000 in available unrestricted cash this month that didn't have to go out the door. In essence, what that means is that the school has to maintain funds that are restricted that can gain investment returns. And if we work it properly, you can use those investment returns to offset your future payments. So we were able to save about $75,000 this month. And I believe we have a path next month to be able to potentially save another 80. So, and open to address any questions if any of the board members have any questions that I can address.
Thank you, Chance. And I just want to add that we were able to get the get budgets out to the principals. So that was that we were all anxiously waiting for that. So I think that was last Friday that they had those in hand. So very, very happy about that. And thank you for your help, Chance, and your team. You had also mentioned starting to provide cash flows for the finance committee. I know you just worked on getting the updated budget. Is that something that's still in the works that we might be able to have for the next finance committee?
Yeah, those really go hand in hand. And so it wasn't until I could kind of finalize what I could see as the projection that we could also do the cash flow. So we have both of them ready to present when we have our next finance committee meeting. And I would say that once we're comfortable with those, I would say that we actually take those inclusive of an updated budget, post it all to Emma so that the investors can see kind of how we're analyzing everything and really trying to make sure that we're being efficient as we can while also ensuring that we meet all of our obligations. And speaking of our, one of the things that we'll do that will be done differently this year is on-site with principals and teachers at each individual location, fiscal 27 budgeting. I'm kind of I'm kind of looking at what we think are very conservative enrollment numbers for fiscal 27. What I think may happen with the state aided classrooms based state funding in terms of being a very reasonable figure there for each school, and then sitting down with the teachers and principals to ensure that, because as we said in our last finance committee meeting, your budget is really where you show your purpose. So I want to make sure that this year we do a very extensive on-site budgeting process with each of the individual principals and teachers at the schools.
Great, thank you. And as I understand, I think you guys might be meeting with the principals once a month, so they might be getting monthly updates. Is that?
I believe it's once, Scott, I think is it every Tuesday or once Tuesday a month or something?
I know the principals and executive leaders team have every other week meetings. We've been invited to the once a month with the principals, and going forward, starting as early as 2 Mondays from now, we'll be having those budgeting conversations with the principals on site. So those meetings have been scheduled. A couple have been rescheduled due to the holiday next Monday and a schedule conflict on my end, but starting the following Monday, we will be getting those off the ground.
Great. Thank you, Scott.
You're very welcome.
And thank you, Chance. Did any of the board members that aren't on finance or even finance committee too, did any of the board members have any questions for Copper's team? Good. Okay, then we'll move on to infrastructure and growth committee. Who is the chair of that now? Is that you, Laurel?
It is.
Okay.
It is. I just have to get my notes.
Oh, you're fine.
In the Growth and Infrastructure Committee meeting, we discussed that approximately $300,000 in damage. There was $300,000 worth of damage to the middle school resulting from the vandalism. ServPro did an excellent job with the cleanup, and the insurance claim was filed on January 9th, and it has been accepted. The board will further discuss the instructional days missed due to the incident. I would like to sincerely thank the teachers and Brian White for their patience and understanding throughout this process. Repairs are currently underway beginning on the upper floors and then moving down to the lower floors due to the flooring needs. Fortunately, there was no damage to any technology. At Spartanburg, $1.5 million was located within the bond for construction. An open bid process was conducted, and general contractors visited the campus to ensure there were no unexpected issues. The contractors confirmed that no I-beams would be needed to be removed, which helps keep costs down. The bids came in under the 1.5 million, and construction is scheduled to begin during Spartanburg's spring break. Plans also include installing a new playscape at the Spartanburg campus if there are funds that remain. We also discussed the uplifts at Simpsonville, which represents a 10-year commitment. The upfront cost was $3.3 million, fully funded by the landlord. Within a significant number of students on the wait list, moving forward was an important priority. General contractors were selected. However, there was no MEP plans, and the project required compliance with OSF regulations, which can and is a complex and more demanding process. The major challenge involved the HVAC system, and the building was required to bring in more outside air than the existing smaller units, leaving no option but to replace all 10 units. Additional needs included were roofing, firewalls, and plumbing upgrades. The project experienced 17 change orders, which related to HVAC, which contributed to increased costs. Despite these challenges, the school opened on time. The final cost was $94 per square foot, which is reasonable, especially given that the building will remain within the green system. The change of use from commercial to school occupancy significantly impacted the scope and the project of the Simpsonville project. And that is the report on that.
Thank you, Laurel. Does anybody have any questions? Let's move on to Personnel Committee. Who's got a report on Personnel Committee?
I do.
You do that too? Thanks.
We met with the Finance Department to discuss budgeting priorities for the upcoming year, including salary increases for the teachers and staff. We also reviewed options for re-implementing retirement matching for the 26-27 school year. And while no final decisions have been made, additional details will be shared at the next meeting.
Okay. And Laurel, if I understand correctly, I think we were going to have Copper go through and show us what that would look like if we added that into our expenses.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes,
Did they get that?
I was working on it also.
Okay. So they're still working on that.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody have any questions? Okay. Thank you, Laurel. And then we will move on to the election committee. Josh, I know we've been talking about this, and I know we've moved Trishka into a appointed role to help us out for a little bit because her seat did not get filled. I think we should talk about that, getting that process up and going to at least try to fill the Greenville Middle Campus seat.
We could discuss trying to do a special voting period for that.
Okay. And then is it just you on the election committee now, Josh?
As far as a board member, yeah, it was on the committee was myself, Dawn, and Tom. And we were supposed to have a meeting That meeting was canceled though. And that was just to discuss, my plans for that. So I just sent out some information, but did not hear back, but was just about to, discuss getting a special voting period going just to get an appointed seat or not an appointed, but an elected seat at Green Middle to take Triska's spot, and then discuss the two open appointed seats to try to fill.
Okay, well, it sounds like we need to get that meeting on the calendar soon, and I don't know if anybody else is interested, but I'm thinking you could probably use another board member on that committee, right?
You can't, it's just because it doesn't take up much time. Now, this is
Okay.
one, I guess, is 1 year where it was a little bit longer because we had someone drop out from the Green Middle campus. Otherwise, that committee would have kind of covers 2 to 3 months, and then that's it.
Okay,
But
So
if someone
you're-
wanted to, yeah, absolutely.
you're okay just doing that yourself?
Yeah, as long as we can, if we can get that voting period up, and then just with the additional 2 seats, I don't know, and not really additional. These were 2 seats that we lost from people that their term was up, but they've been with us. We've had 9 seats for over 4 years. So I would, like to discuss getting information out for those 2 seats.
Mandy, can we have a little bit of an open discussion about that here, or?
For sure. I'd
Okay,
love
okay.
to have an open discussion about this.
Okay, so my opinion on that is we definitely got to get Trishka's seat filled. We're running on borrowed time with her. As far as the appointments go, this is just my opinion, so everybody chime in with yours. The appointments, I'm a little bit worried since we do have some new people that we need to get up to speed and, feet in the dirt and all that stuff, of having too many new people on at once, because it takes a bit to get acclimated in the board role. That's just my opinion, but I'd like to hear what the other board members have to say.
I mean, I have some thoughts here, if you don't mind. I mean, I definitely think that you're right that, Trishka has served very dutifully. We were on the PTO before we ever even got on the board, so she's given a lot to Green Charter over the years, and I am very grateful that she has decided to stay on during this temporary period. I mean, I think that the middle school staff and stakeholders have a right to elect someone from the middle school to represent them, and that should be done. That way that campus has a voice, because right now that campus's voice is with Trishka. As far as the other seats, I mean, when we were writing the bylaws years ago, we had kind of envisioned that it was going to be not quite 50-50. We always wanted there to be more elected board members than non-elected board members, but that we wanted there to be people from outside the school that were members of the community that had something that they could bring to Green. One of the great things about Dr. Hawk was that Dr. Hawk founded ICAR and had a wealth of community connections and knowledge that we were able to draw on for years and years. And we've had other community board members throughout the year, not parents or teachers or former teachers or anything like that, but people who were members of the community. And I do think that that is something that the board needs. I don't know that it's something that the board needs right this second, because you're right, there's a lot of new people on here right now, but I think that people who are able to look at what Green's vision is, what our charter is, our charter is renewable energy education. Maybe there are some community members out there that can come in and they can help us bring that charter to life for all of our campuses. So I wouldn't be quick to rush to just put anybody in these elected or into these appointed seats. I think that it needs to be people who can bring a lot of depth and worth outside of being connected through a student or connected through a staff member. That's just my personal opinion.
Well, and to go with that, that's what I would think. That's why when you have them, they have to send a letter, letter of interest. You can have them send their resume, and then you're able to look at that background and see. I think the fact that someone being new, I don't know if that's such a bad thing. Then you bring them on board at the same time, and you're able to start at one spot and build from there.
Well, what you read into when that happens is that when people's terms are up, you have almost an entire wholesale turnover of the board. And that's a big problem, is that you've got a lot of people. I mean, we losing the people that we lost this go round, that's more people. And maybe this is a discussion for a future time. Maybe instead of it being 2-year terms, it should be 3-year terms, and it should be staggered differently. I mean, when we were coming up with all of this, we didn't have as many campuses as we do right now. So, I mean, that's something that can be adjusted through the bylaws. But one of the things that we always looked at when we were doing this is that when I first came on the board years and years ago, it literally was a completely new board. And that was a really hard thing to do because we had lost so much institutional knowledge about the way things were done and why they were done. And I mean, obviously things are really different now 5 years later, but that was one of the reasons why we were trying to stagger things. And I mean, I not my boat. I'm just saying that's why, if you want to know why we did it that way, that was why we did it that way.
Well, and couldn't we with two more people? Because you say that at least 50%. Well, we have 7 board members and we have 7 schools. With the with the other 2 people, again, and this was voted on to have 9 people over 4 years ago in October of 21. So if we can't just aren't they there, and we need to fill them. And these 2 people that do come on, we could also have them stagger themselves. Like we could have one come on for 1 year and the other one be 2 years, and then now you have that stagger.
Well, and I mean, when we voted to expand the board, it was that we could go up to. It wasn't that it was a minimum or a mandatory. One of the things too that probably needs to be looked at, and this is a change for bylaws, would be, technically there are periods within the bylaws when we are supposed to be doing these appointments. It's the 3rd quarter of the fiscal year of the school. I mean, obviously we're outside of that now because we've just had 2 people who have who've left the board because their terms have been up. But I mean, this is a big discussion. This is, in my opinion, anyways, this is not a rush into anything discussion, because it's going to require a change to bylaws, most likely, when it comes to staggering and the time periods in which we can appoint new board members. I mean, there's not even really any precedent for a special election in our bylaws. So that's probably something that needs to be looked at as well.
Yeah, and I think we should take our time to figure out what our needs are. And then focus on that too, because like what extra skill sets do we want to add to the board? What do we need? I think personally, I mean, you kind of hit that up, Mandy, with Dr. Hawk, maybe something that does focus on energy. Someone from a company that works with this kind of stuff that may even be able to offer things that could be offered to our students, possibly like a partnership type of thing would be amazing. I mean,
that had always been our goals. I mean, we have GE that does wind turbines right down the street from multiple of our campuses in Greenville. I mean, there's a group down in the Low Country that works off of for windmills offshore. I mean, that had always been the idea, was to get people from the community, like not people who are tied to a specific campus, but that can look at Green as a whole, as a system, and bring wealth to it. And I would love to see I mean, we've had a few appointed members from down in the Low Country and down in the Midlands campus, but I mean, it would be great for that part of the state to get some representation too, because it is very upstate heavy right now.
Well, I just want to speak up because Mandy, you said like because if you were part of that for that vote to change, but in those minutes though, it said to increase the size from 7 to 9. So
right, because we added 2 people.
I understand, but you said up to, it didn't say up to. It doesn't say up to 9, like anywhere up to 9. It says to change, and it passed 7 to 0. It passed to change that from 7 to 9. So I mean, that's,
Right, but our bylaws don't say that we are required to have 9 people. Our bylaws say that we are required to have an elected member from each campus, and then we can have appointed members.
So appointed is optional.
but and
And,
it,
and I
it
think we
does
should
say
feel those,
7 to
but we
9.
should
It's,
keep in
it
mind.
clearly was voted on by the board
No, I know.
We
I'm
have-
to have
there.
9 people.
We have seat base for 9. I don't think that we're required to have 9. And I absolutely agree. We should have those seats. And I
Oh, yeah.
think just my blunt thought, having, remembering all the times we've been trying to get people on them, I agree that maybe we do need to tweak the bylaws and do tweak the process, but as much trouble as we've had getting people from outside the school and valuable members of the community to come be a part of the board, I'd say just start recruiting, looking, and then worry about when is this person starting? When is that person? Rather than getting too hung up on the dates.
Right.
It does take a long time to find someone who is interested in making this kind of a commitment who isn't part of the school. So I absolutely agree. Just, keep looking, start looking more actively.
And that's why we can have them send their information. I mean, we discussed the candidate before that I've brought up, Justin, that has financial background that would be probably someone pretty beneficial to have on the board.
I mean,
I think
that's sort of the point of your committee is right now, we've got to figure out how we can get Trishka's seat filled so that she can take her time off the board. And then figure out.
So if I'm the
about-
only member on my committee from the board,
Well,
then,
we have
I mean,
another board member that's
we-
not
we-
on a committee. I don't know if she's willing
can-
to join that or not, but.
I mean, we can go
we have a
into
brand new
like
board
just,
member.
let's have our
I-
schools get out information.
Excuse me, Josh, I just want to jump in really quickly. I think for me, I would be willing to volunteer to join you on that committee. I do think that another person needs to be on that with you for the support. I think when we met, we all decided that we wanted to be more of a support to each other. And I also agree with Mandy when she says like we should definitely recruit and think about finding community members from the Low Country area or the Midlands area, because when I listen to the stakeholders at my campus, they wish that they had more representation. It almost feels like they're on a lost aisle, like they want to be seen and heard just like everyone else. And I think they no longer are willing to say like, well, the upstate is where home offices is, and that's where, most of our leaders are and our admin is. They want to be seen and heard too, and they want the same type of change and thought processes for their babies down here as well. And as in the Midlands, I'm sure, Nakisha, you would agree maybe that you all are feeling that same way. So I think I agree, Josh, you may have a candidate, but we also want to give time so that it's plenty of opportunity for different campuses to have that as well.
Oh, I'm totally fine giving that. I'm just bringing up a name. Whether that's something that the board decides to go with, but with you saying that, to your point, that's kind of like you're basically agreed with what I said then. Let's get the information out. Each school sends the information out, and then people that would like to run for an appointed position, they submit a letter of interest, they submit their resume, and that shows us their background and, what types of information they can kind of bring to the board. If they have ties in their communities, but that's basically what I'm saying.
Josh, did you share that Justin's resume with all of us?
No, I don't have that. That's just someone that was just somebody that that had reached out and that I spoke
Is this
about.
person a stakeholder?
He has
Like, are they a parent?
he has kids at the school.
Yeah, I think
which-
that's what we're
think
moving away from.
Yes, we want
Okay.
people outside of Green in the community for our appointed spots.
And so then we just need to get the information sent out from the school.
Mhm.
I have a question. So what if we had people that were a part of Green Charter, but also have very good ties in the community? Because just because they're a parent doesn't mean they don't have ties in the community. And I'll speak for me.
Exactly.
Um, I'm a business owner. I coach people. So at Green Charter Midlands, I've brought a lot of business owners into our school over the last 2 years due to my ties within the community. So when we have career day and different things like that, I'm able to get on the phone and bring in 20, 30 business owners throughout the communities within Lexington and Richland and Fairfield counties because of my ties in the community. So just because we're a parent doesn't mean that we don't have ties in the community, because it all depends on what our job titles is, our career paths are in the community.
Absolutely.
That's true.
And I
I
mean,
understand that.
thinking about the parents on the, like, Catherine, I'm not sure if you and Nikisha have kids at the school. But I know before you joined, I'm the only one with kids at the school right now. So of our 7 members, if the 2 of you do, we only have 3 members on our board that have kids at school. So the other
I
4
have
do
2.
not.
I have 2, and mine have been, my oldest have been there since the 1st grade, and she's in the 6th. So
Awesome.
Yeah, I also have a daughter that also attends Green Low Country.
So
She's
we
been
have,
there. Did you say third, Nikisha?
no,
You started
she's
at
been
what
there
grade?
since the 1st grade, and she's in the
Oh,
6th
first.
now.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we started in third, and she's in the
Okay.
6th as well. Mhm.
Okay.
And my youngest is coming back next year. We moved her over to try to meet friends closer to home. And it was another county school. So we're homeschooling temporarily, and we got into the lottery and all that stuff. I'm trying to convince her to move back this year, but she's going through this. It'll be awkward. I'll be like the new kid and all that. But yeah, I am looking forward to bringing her back. And we're in Riverside High. So my son is over there and he needs like all the extra things. He can't have enough stuff to do. So he's on like the big marching band and he was doing football and all that stuff. But yeah, Bethany will be back next year.
and then just, and we'll also have to, I don't know if it's with bylaws, but in our information just about election committee, it stated just 1 board member on there. So that's something that we would have to adjust as well.
I mean, I personally, number one, I don't think anybody has to justify why they're on this board or what their commitment to this board is, particularly not
It was
somebody
just
like me
brought
who
up.
has literally been at this school since day one.
It was just
Um,
brought up.
and that's fine. But the
Mhm.
point that I was trying to make about community members and them not necessarily having ties to particular campuses by being stakeholders is there are a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this because I've literally represented 3 campuses now, where I have contacts at that particular campus who come to me and they feel comfortable with, these are the concerns of my campus. By having someone who's not tied to a campus, they can look at the system as a global system as a whole, because we are all tied together. We are not one campus. It's not the upstate. It's not Pelham Road. It's not Low Country or Midlands. So it is, I think, personally, my opinion here, it is beneficial to have people that have no ties to the school, that don't know almost every teacher at the Pelham Road campus or the high school campus like I do, that don't have a 3rd grader in there right now, that have the ability to look at it systemically, globally, and be able to go, let's see how we can make improvements, and let's see what we as a community can bring. That's why I'm saying it is beneficial to have some people on the board. It doesn't have to be 50%. At one point, we had talked about taking the board all the way to 14, but we realized that it was going to be really hard to get 14 people to show up and do things. We have a hard time getting 7 people to show up and do things. I mean, I told, I think it was Stephanie today, I've never missed a board meeting, and I've been on this board since 2021. That is not an easy thing to do. I took a board meeting while I was on vacation in Hawaii, for crying out loud. Not an easy thing to do. So by taking the board to a really high number, it makes it difficult to just field everything. But to have people from outside who aren't tied to teachers, who aren't tied to campuses, but who can look at this and go, I believe in the vision of Green, I think that's an important thing. And that's where I'm coming from.
And Everyone has their opinion. I mean, I think everyone's an adult and we should all be able to step out and look what's best for Green as a whole.
And as the board, we are all obligated to look at all the schools at the same time.
Including when we're inviting members, we have to be fair and think about all aspects. I want to come to some alignment here. I feel like, we're throwing out personal opinions, and like we need to have some alignment here. And like Josh, I don't want you to feel like we're taking what you're asking of us and we're just, kind of throwing it out. I do feel like maybe we should think about all angles and see how that will work. But it's quite clear that there's probably not going to be some sort of solution right now in this moment as to where that goes. So like, I think maybe bringing it back with more of a formal thought process where we can bounce actual ideas versus feelings, thoughts off of each other. Like we owe it to our stakeholders to be thoughtful in this process. And I feel like it's just a little bit too opinion based right now and personal. And I want to see some
I'm sorry
facts.
you feel that way, but like to just state that we're trying to fill 2 appointed seats that were there and that we lost, there's no feelings about that. You send the information out and the board goes through the candidates that would apply and they discuss it.
Josh,
That's where the
when
meeting comes from.
When we speak of feelings, Josh, and when we speak of opinions, this is something that's coming from you and your thought process.
That's you.
Mandy has spoken. I have spoken. I never sat here and said that you were the only one that had thoughts and opinions. I said I feel like all of us are having thoughts and opinions, and we owe it to the people and the children that we serve that we come back with actual facts before we just keep throwing out how we feel. Like this conversation will keep spinning and we will get nowhere with it. Stephanie, I don't know. What are you feeling?
I
Do you feel
am
like we should
totally
come
with
back?
you. I am totally with you. I think we need to, I guess, table this for now. I do think we need to address the Greenville Middle School seat. That's priority. And then revisit this appointment thing. I think we need to, and I think you're right, Kat. I don't think we should rush into that. And the 2 people that were in the appointed seats were with the board for a long time. There's a lot of knowledge that went away with that. And I think we need to, I think we owe it to the stakeholders to take our time with this and make sure that we get good value people in there. That I'm with you.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
This to me sounds like something that the governance committee would take up.
I was thinking that, but I wasn't sure. Thank you. Yeah. So maybe Kat, you, me, and Tom need to figure out and we need to have more discussion. And goodness, Laurel. Yes. It's been a long day.
It has been.
Thank you.
And what do we feel about adding who currently isn't on a committee that could join that committee with Josh?
Nikisha is not on a committee yet.
And it stated just 1 board member. So we have to go into changing those things.
The bylaws. He's talking about the bylaws.
He's talking about, yeah. And I know when I was on,
Just following those.
when I was on it, it was a board member, a teacher, and there was someone else, but I don't remember who it was.
Yeah, well, there was no election committee. We just kind of had to make an election committee. But I mean, again, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's a big discussion here around the bylaws and everything like that. But I mean, the bylaws can be changed as long as they are proposed to the board by the board and the board votes on them.
But I agree with you, Stephanie. I think we should table this. This is obviously something that we all need to discuss.
Okay. So do you think, Laurel, because you suggest, or Mandy, you suggested the, governance committee, can we, should we also discuss more about getting, the Greenville Middle School seat going too?
I think that's the first thing we need to do.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
I
so,
think that had already been decided that it needs to be done. It just, the
Yes.
process needs to get started.
yes. So should that direction come from the governance committee too, do you think?
No, that should
That
come,
would be election.
that's election committee.
Okay. So Josh, do you think we could get that process started for Trishka seat, and we will talk more about the appointed seats after the
Yeah.
governance committee meets?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and that would involve having that meeting with Tom and Dawn. Is that correct?
Yes.
Josh? Okay. Okay. So now, I think we're ready to move on. Okay, so for old business, I was just gonna give a little summary here for the Q&A updates that town hall Q&A sessions have been scheduled for each campus. So if your campus has not held theirs yet, keep an eye out for emails for more information. And we encourage all stakeholders to attend the session for their own campus. And Tom's going to talk a little bit in a few minutes about the Q&A slideshow overview. He's going to do a presentation. Does anybody have any other old business to bring up? Yep.
I don't.
Okay, we'll move on to new business. Does anybody have any new business? Any of the board members? New business? Nope. Okay, then we'll move on to the executive director update. Tom, are you on the call?
I'm here, Stephanie.
Hey there, how are you?
Very good, thank you. Yes, we do have, we've had 3 Q&As already. As you all know, I do like to talk, so I will do this in an abridged version, and we can post this on our board page as well after tonight. But I've had the privilege of being at 3 of the schools already with Mr. Rollins and the board rep. We started at the middle school a week and a half ago. This week, we were at Low Country on Monday and Spartanburg on Tuesday. It's been just a beautiful experience, and really good to see people on hybrid. And then had a great conversation. When we're done with the kind of received questions, we have a conversation with those people present. It's been going really well. So I'm just going to go through this because I know it's already been a long meeting for everyone. But you know, since I've arrived here, we did a lot of work to rebrand Green and refocus on, you know, personalization and what I'll call high achievement and high nurturance. That's why, you know, we've had such growth, 1,800 kids when I arrived and nearly 3,000 now, with 2 new schools, including the high school, which when I arrived had 100 kids and now has 400. And Simpsonville was just a thought at that time. And I'll say this, that there's one old adage that, you know, I'll believe it when I see it. And when we started, based on that 2021 bond and the board appointing me, we had to believe it before we saw it. And it's really beautiful to see what we've built. And even Laurel's summary on the cost of Simpsonville compared to, and our high school compared to previous schools is remarkable how inexpensive we built. We built the high school for the same price we built Midlands 8 or 10 years earlier. So, and it is just a wonderful, better construction costs, better construction materials and everything. So a lot of what we see now was really just envisioned between myself, the leadership, executive, or the directors, and our board, and the support the board has provided for that vision. So Green is, I'll just fly through this, but Green, I'll do it more extensively when I get to each campus, but basically the promise of voice and choice. We're in our second strategic plan now. The mission and vision have not changed. There's the thing I'll say about what we do at Green is we hold the target steady. And that's why, there's been consistent, that was what's so great about hearing some of the comments from people who've been here a long time, that high nurturance was always here. And we've just kind of defined it maybe a little better since then, and really tried to do that high nurturance and high aspirations across all the systems and processes at Green. So those goals, those mission and vision have been embedded in our strategic plan since my arrival. The next page, Melissa, is the thing that drew me to Green. First meeting an amazing personnel committee and then the full board. But in reading the bylaws, as a lifelong public servant and public administrator, I loved the democratic nonprofit approach that Green takes. And this visual that you're seeing now is one of the first visuals I created when we got here, because there's this great book, How to Think Like Einstein, and one of the things he said, always create a visual for a complex idea. And this really embodies what Green is all about. It's really about the voters and customers being the same thing. That if you're a staff member, a family member, a stakeholder, you have a vote in who becomes on the board. And that board appoints an executive director. And the great part about Green and why we continue to have a scalable, achievable growth is that the same structure that was here with 1,800 kids as I was wrapping up my first year is the same structure we have with 3,000 kids. We put some support around these directors, but the decision makers are still the same we had before. So we have a scalable model that's allowed for that success. So I'll get into it more when I go to specific campuses, but next is our org chart, which really takes that bigger bylaws structure and breaks it out into the different campuses and responsibilities. The other thing that I like to do, and you can see it here, in the bylaws, we kind of show a left to right, and obviously an org chart is a top to bottom, but you'll see later in how we've developed that around our student voice and choice. So we have our org chart there, and maybe the most important thing to talk about, just so everyone on the call understands, and this is what I stress maybe more extensively, is the next slide, Melissa, is our bond structure. This is right from Baird. One of the cool things that's happened over the last year and a half at Green is bringing on Copper and then expanding Copper's role, bringing on First Tryon as our financial advisor, and moving away from our previous bondholders and really attaching ourselves to Baird has given us a really honest and capable and talented finance team. So this is how they've tried to explain Green's bond structure. And I go into it more when they get to the campuses, but you can see that basically all our charters, and you see the Greenville schools, because there's 2 schools under that charter. We have 6 charters and 7 schools, are all providing monthly debt service toward those 3 facility costs. The Series 2021 bond, which is a great decision by the board right before I got here. It created quite a challenge to get up to, effectively using the Five Forks Charter, which is our new high school. But it also kind of motivated us to find a way to fill the pipeline so we could have a real K-12 system in the upstate. And I think will kind of motivate us, as Kat was saying earlier and Nikisha is, to find those high school options in the lower part of the state. We really do, I believe we have an obligation to those families. But you see that we've talked about the Spartanburg purchase. That was a critical move to create stability there. And that's also part of our bond, our payment requirements, and then the Simpsonville landlord. So all of our charters work cooperatively Obviously, we had to spend a lot of extra money to get Simpsonville open, and at times other schools need support. So we're all in this together. It's green for all and all for green. So I'll get into that more when I go to each campus, but I wanted the full board to see it. There are 3 pages next that really describe what are the kind of galvanizing ideas of green. And that is our sustainability goals, our interdevelopment goals that all come from the United Nations, and really talks about how we knit together STEM and environmental and sustainability efforts and really create global citizens coming out of green with a perspective on how those things work. The interdevelopment goals were developed shortly after the sustainability goals because it was really about changing people's mindset. So then it was about 1.5 years ago, maybe 2 years ago, we came up with this galvanizing identity for green. And that is really the portrait of a green learner, where we take these kind of process goals of being, thinking, relating, collaborating, and acting, and then embedding those sustainability goals and those things that create an awareness of our citizens. I'm going to date myself, but one of the great sayings out there from an old folk singer, Pete Seeger, he used to sing or talk about thinking globally but acting locally, and I think that's part of what you see embedded within this portrait of a green learner. And finally, a couple last pieces. Probably the first visual that was shared really globally with the community and has been really part of what we think about all the time when we make decisions. These next few pages are our process goals. But I wanted to make sure, Laurel said at the Tuesday Q&A that we're all on the same boat. We just got to be rowing in the same direction. And this is really speaking to that, building toward that kind of shining light of student voice and choice. What green is built on is not about a test score, not about a reductionist approach to human existence, but basic human dignity, understanding that each student and staff member has agency, and we need to teach them how to self-govern and how to continue to expand their capacity. So this just kind of visually explains both our chain of command, our appeal process, and what our focus should be. The last couple pages of the presentation are just really explaining the 4 C's of green, which are our customers, quality. I know quality isn't spelled with a C, but it is continuous improvement and capacity development and capital. So these are foundational in our annual report, our strategic plan, and almost every decision we make at Green, we think about how 1 or 2 of these aspects are impacted by it. How do we ensure that it's good for all of our stakeholders? How do we assist people to continuously improve? How do we make sure people are stretching their capacity? And how do we make decisions for the long-term good of green that are fiscally sound? And I can tell you that we don't make expedient decisions at Green. Throughout it all, we've gone a little slower at times because we didn't want to just create a rule unless it was aligned to our philosophy and approach. So we make decisions that are sustainable and good for the long-term health of our system. So that's generally a little more extensively by campus what goes over, and then we answer the questions. So this is, I just wanted to make sure that people that might not have gotten to a site yet or kind of wanted to hear more about it would hear the general approach. And I know Kat and Laurel are probably tired of hearing it this week, at least, because they heard it already. But I truly love talking about green. I love what we're doing. I truly, this isn't just what I do, this is who I am. And I love what we get to do here at Green. So welcome any questions or, I do have one last thing to say. I have a celebration that today, Mr. Garcia received the Golden Apple recognition at Green Upstate High School. So he epitomizes class and dedication, and Next Friday, he'll be on the WYFF Golden Apple Award winner. They were there today filming it. And it's just really exciting because he's such a solid gentleman and such an example of professionalism. And I couldn't think of a better teacher to receive that recognition. So Mr. G, thank you. And we'll see you on TV next week. So that's all I had for the executive director's report.
Mr. G was our teacher of the year. Was that last year or the year before? I know A had him like 3 years or something like that. So he's an amazing teacher.
He's so old school, shows up and, dressed up every day, a tie, a belt.
yeah.
He's just awesome. I've gotten to go to his culminating activities at times, and he's just such a class act. So that's all I had for you. And we got 4 more Q&As to do. Next week, we have the elementary school and we have Midland. So Nikisha, I'll see you next Wednesday.
Thank you so much, Tom. Did anybody have any questions, or did you already ask that, Tom? We good? Okay. So I guess we move into adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Because that's it for the agenda.
So moved.
Mandy, and then I've lost my pen. Okay. And can I get a second to adjourn?
Second.
So we don't always, we typically haven't had a motion to adjourn when we've concluded our agenda is usually how we end it, but it's your board. You do it the way you want to, Stephanie.
I'm learning. I'm a work in progress over here.
You did a good job, Stephanie.
You did a great job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I am thankful for all of y'all, so I appreciate it. And thank you for this time. I know it was kind of a long meeting. We had to go through a lot of stuff, but I really appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a good night and a nice Valentine's Day.
Thank you. You too.
Spread love, spread joy.
That's right. I love it. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.